Good morning, people. Happy Monday. It is August 26th. It's my parents' 31st wedding anniversary, actually, today. So, big day. Not for me, but it's a day. So, let's start the week off here. We'll take a look at what's going on. Some of the big news events we'll cover. This week, to start off, the main news event that I think a lot of people are going to be looking at, a lot of market participants are going to be, it's going to be NVDA. NVIDIA's got earnings on Wednesday. I believe it's August 28th, and today's the 26th. So here's NVIDIA. We got earnings on Wednesday, which could sway the next move in these markets. This is what a lot of market participants are going to have their eyes on realistically. So, excuse me. NVIDIA has rallied about just over 40% since that low that we saw in July, or August, I should say. Sorry, August, early August. And we got this really strong rally, and everyone's going to be poised to look at and see what the earnings look like on Nvidia, because that's going to create the next decent move upside or downside. So far, big tech with the Nasdaq have been lagging a little in comparison to the S&P, so a lot of eyes are going to be on this. On Friday as well, what we have is the PCE pre-market, which is the Fed's favorite inflation gauge that is going to bring a lot of eyes on us. So we don't necessarily have too much news leading up into that. So the first big event's most likely going to be Wednesday with Nvidia's earnings. And today we have a banking holiday in London, so London's closed. We've seen a little less volume here during the London session, and we could see a little less volume into the morning session of the US session, the RTH. So that's something to consider as we're coming into this. Next week on Monday is Labor Day, so markets are going to be closed then as well. So let's take a look at some of the other news that we got going on here before we jump into anything and look at the overall plan that I have structured for the S&P. But one of the big news events that hit the wire this weekend was the arrest of Pavel Durov, the Russian billionaire CEO of messaging app Telegram in France, actually. So French authorities on Saturday arrested him, who reportedly is still being detained for questioning. The arrest is part of an investigation into the alleged lack of moderation on Telegram, which police claim they allow criminal activity to continue undetected on the app. Durov has nothing to hide, said Telegram. It's absurd to claim that a platform or its owners are responsible for abuse of the platform. The arrest was prompt widespread backlash, including from Elon Musk and Rumble CEO Chris Pavlovsky and Edward Snowden. So that's mainly hitting the news, right? That's been populating my Twitter space over the weekend, so interesting to mention. What else we have in news today, right? Kroger will start batting in court with the Federal Trade Commission today over its plan to block the supermarket behemoth's $24.6 billion purchase of rival Halbert Stone's. The hearing in Portland, Oregon is scheduled to end with closing arguments on September 13th, with the judge's decision expected 10 days after the trial ends. The FTC sued the block to block the combination in February, saying that the deal would lead to higher prices for consumers. The companies have been trying to appease the FTC by offering to divest hundreds of stores to make the deal more palatable for the regulator, but we'll see how that kind of shapes up. And the lost astronauts, so Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams, who were sent to orbit on Boeing's Starliner in June, will remain at the International Space Station until next year before hitching a ride back on a SpaceX spacecraft. This would extend their stay in orbit from the originally planned 1 week to about 8 months. The decision comes as Boeing and NASA have struggled to decide on the astronauts' return journey amid safety concerns over the Starliner. Meanwhile, the empty Starliner capsule is expected to undock from the ISS in a week or two and begin its return home on autopilot. What are they going to eat? 8 months. I don't know what the plan is there. I haven't dived into it too much, but it seems like an interesting story. Pre-market here, we do have equities that are trying to rally a bit. Like I said, the Nasdaq is one of the ones that's kind of lagging right now. You can see here, even from the ETF on the triple Qs, we've rallied much less in comparison to the S&P. This ETF is still about 5% off its all-time highs, while the S&P is just knocking on its door for that all-time high. Otherwise, in Japan, we've seen a little downturn overnight. Hong Kong is up, China's flat, India is up, London is up 0.5%, Paris up, Frankfurt down. And today, in terms of news, we have Dow's Fed manufacturing survey at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Otherwise, it's not super populated. So with that, we can take a look at the plan for the S&P. The Nasdaq is holding lower, which The divergence here is a little cumbersome, which could present a little downturn in equities overall if we start breaking much lower in tech, because tech is a higher beta leading source of movement. And the S&P here is still fighting with last week's highs. It can't break above last week's highs, even though we did see a decent near about 20-point rally on the overnight session from the lows into the highs. Right now we're in this auction area, we're in this balance that I would want to see hold at 56, 45, 48 realistically. If we pull back down to that, it's imperative that these buyers step into that area and push above 56.65. We need to bid 56.65. That's what we're looking for today. That's how the expansion happens. Otherwise, the bulls are not going to be super happy with this, and we start moving under 56.45. We could see a decent downturn that could drop 15 to 20 points before any support is found. So it's not the best of scenarios if we start accepting back into an auction lower, into a balance lower. On the bull side, if we want to remain bullish, we really need to see these guys push off this area into the top of this distribution band on the S&P. Otherwise, we have to just flip this thing. NASDAQ, we'll look at NASDAQ as well because it's looking very sorry right now. We had a big drop on Thursday, right? And since then, even on Friday with the bullish Jackson Hole close, we couldn't necessarily revive this thing back towards the top band of this larger distribution, which happens to be above that 20,000 area. So 20,000 is posing a pretty big threat right now. And realistically, if we start losing 19,720, 19,740 on NASDAQ, we could see a decent slip where we enter these lower volume areas and go and revisit that Thursday low. So NASDAQ's in a very tough, sticky situation right now. I would want to see them actually start buying above that 810 area to kind of elicit a little more momentum to the buy side if I'm going to stay bullish. Otherwise, constant failures on NASDAQ can lead the other markets to actually pull lower. We've seen Russell 2000 on a pretty strong bid on Friday. It's continuing that momentum pre-market. So there's a divergence between these equities that needs to be watched, because if one of these turns into a leader, right, there could be a really good opportunity there for them to converge back again. So with that being said, let's open up our live trading room. We're going to be watching for these different moves. And check out community.tradeproacademy.com for our open Discord. I posted our plan for today in there as well. And I'll see you guys tomorrow to continue the week, and I'm excited to see what NVIDIA does on Wednesday. That's going to be the next large move, realistically. So let's get ready for that. Leading into that, probably take it a little easier, go step by step, and see what these markets want to do. So thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Check out community.tradeproacademy.com, and let's open up our live trading room. So thank you, take care, and have a great trading day to start the week.